We are live. Hey everyone, welcome back. Thank you for coming back to the Digital Green Book podcast. I'm Alana Whitaker, one half of Digital Green Book, and you can also call me Afro Butterfly. As you know, here at Digital Green Book, I love highlighting amazing, dope, talented, unique people across the diaspora. I'm so blessed and honored today to have Sydney Davis here. I met this young lady while she was teaching an entire panel at Black Tech Week Cincinnati. She is the founder of NixCode. This is literally an app that's developed to help people who may not have the technical skills to write code, or maybe they just want to save some time and go ahead and do a plug and play option, and it helps them get those coding needs out of the way. That's such a phenomenal product. Sydney, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. Love your delivery. You got this.
Yes.
I'm
Like
talking
literally,
about introduction now.
literally, I went down a rabbit hole that day because I brought my laptop with me to Black Tech Week.
Mhm.
And we're sitting in there. You're like, oh, it's super easy. Everybody follow along. And I'm like, follow along. And I'm looking around. People got their phones out, their laptops out, and they're diving straight in. And everyone in the room looked completely different. It was liberating because I mean, there were older people in there were kids in there, and everyone was following along. And I'm like, this is one of the best icebreakers I've ever seen to introduce people to the world of coding.
Yeah.
It like tell me what inspired you to make NixCode?
Well, my first purpose was as a freelance developer, working
Mhm,
with a lot of non-technical creators and creatives. They were like,
mhm,
"Look, Sydney, I can't code. I don't also have the money to hire a developer. I feel like you get my idea. It was either could you develop it for me? Could you be my CTO? Could
mhm,
we partner on this?" And after a while, having so many clients like that was just not the goal and feasible for me and a little overwhelming. And so I felt once people needed a retention or some way to retain their technical expertise or talent, I said there's got to be
mhm,
an easier way. And so that's where I thought, first, what if I build it for you in a solution and then you can just maintain it without me needing to be around? And then
hmm,
empowering them to do it themselves. That's what inspired me to get here. But again, I keep pivoting. The more I keep learning and speaking to people and truly understanding the need, um, this is how I keep evolving NixCode to what it's become today, a
mhm.
completely artificial intelligence app development tool.
Wow. Like it, growing up when I heard the term AI, I'm 34, and like the biggest introduction I remember having to AI was Will Smith. And it was this negative perception of robots taking over the world. And I'm like, holy crap. But when I really think back, we've been dealing with AI or even different aspects of
Yeah,
machine learning for quite some time.
a long time.
I,
And it's
I even
mostly
remember
been film was where it kind of started. But yeah,
that part. I even remember the little dancing paperclip on Microsoft Word. Back in the day, it would ask automated questions. Did you mean, or are you looking for this, or did you need
yeah, Clippy.
clip, clippy?
Yeah,
So,
it would help you
it's
do anything.
and that for I know we're evolving into an era where everyone has the opportunity to do things. I love initiatives where I see STEAM and young girls are included, and that like makes my heart sing. And I was like super excited to interview you today because I'm like, this is a woman out here with her whole own business, out here getting it done. And like it's just so inspiring. So what sort of clients do you see use NixCode the most now? Like what backgrounds are they coming from? Are they super techie, or are these artists, or who's using it?
One, I find two types of majority in audiences. One are people looking to solve health disparities in
Hmm,
marginalized communities. A lot of people. It could be a fem health, fitness, wellness, medicine, telehealth. People are big on mental health, community,
hmm,
streamlining patients to physical, mental, and just psychological resources. So
hmm.
a huge wellness tech sector, and maybe that was a pivot to it, like COVID and people go more hybrid. So that could have been a push too. We launched like a month right before the shutdown happened.
Wow.
I guess the other background of people I see are actually agencies. So these are actually people who says, "Hey, I'm just like you said, I'm a developer, but look, I'm not trying to do a bunch of coding work. I want to streamline my processes with all my clients and give them something that they can maintain on their own." So agencies are also shortcutting their workload and optimizing and streamlining their processes by leveraging NixCode as well. So those are two different segments we really see a lot on NixCode.
And it makes complete sense. I was like guessing beforehand because I was excited to ask you that. I'm like, I wonder who's doing all the plug-in players. Is it people making games? Is it people? But it makes so much sense. I literally just attended a pitch competition in as an audience member in Atlanta, Fearless Fund, and amazing. For anyone who hasn't gone, I highly recommend attending next year. It'll be September next year as well. Just type in Fearless Fund, and 11 different women pitched, all women business owners, all of them pitching some sort of tech app. And each of them, I could see them having a need for your product. Two of them were building out diabetic apps, like for people with diabetes, helping them keep all of their health care and paperwork and everything organized. One was Care Co-Pilot, young lady connecting elderly people in the community to resources, healthcare, things of that nature. Just the list goes on. And even people who didn't technically need an app, they still needed the interface because one young lady is selling shoes. Ariana Edwards, I interviewed her a few weeks ago. She's like, that's how I even wound up qualifying as a tech company. I'm a shoe retailer, but I need the tech to sell my shoes. So even in my own misadventures with Digital Green Book, I'm up here like, do I need a chief technical officer? Do I need a pro back end front end? Like, but I'm like, hello. So I will definitely be checking out your product.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely.
So definitely a high demand thing in that healthcare.
Yeah. So where are you now expanding NixCode into? Because there's a clear need for it in the market. Most people are trying to get online, trying to reach the masses, needing to shortcut the time with physical paperwork and things like that. Where do you want to branch into next?
It's not really more so industry. I think we're pretty good industry agnostic, but more so in our product roadmap is that the problem isn't sometimes well, I mean, yes, not knowing how to code is a problem, and the affordability of hiring traditional developers when they make up like 1% of 1/3 of the world's population. But
Wow.
it doesn't matter if we gave you code. If I gave you Lego blocks and I said, build me an app, it's like, okay, how do I build a product? And that's the hurdle. That's people aren't product developers. I mean, you have no UX UI experience. You don't know how to build for conversion. You don't know how to build for engagement. You don't know how to build for sustainability. You're not a user behavior analyst, right? This is so new to you that you can build it, but it may not be usable. It could fail. It could be glitched. Users will find it difficult. So to me, it's more about how do I evolve my product to be easy for product development for those who've never created anything. I don't care what the means were. And that's where my focus is. Not only is how can our artificial intelligence and platform make you a better product developer, but also once you actually build a product, people are like, okay, well, now what? I got a product, but now what? It's getting its market because you're now also not an app marketer. You don't know app metrics. You don't know what best in class performance looks like for mobile app because you never have one and you're new to this space. So outside of just giving you a tool to build a product, we want to give you tools to be successful. That's like industry agnostic because at the end it's foundational. I don't care what industry you're in, you got to have some foundational principles in product development, and that's what NixCode aims to do through no code. That's where I'm moving to.
I'm definitely, even as far as I'm concerned, I'm like novice hood into my founder era, my Rihanna era, my founder era. I was an ICU nurse for 13 years and fell into tech, and it just grew on. I fell in love. I've always been in love with things of the tech nature. Like I grew up watching BattleBots with my brother and just fascinated with people building things and even for recreation. Very much love. I was just chatting with someone else about this. I love like Alton Brown because he gets to the etiology of, oh, why was the muffin invented and who made the first muffin recipe? And that translates to tech for me because I'm like, okay, well, who figured out how to code first, and what language is the best, and oh, what is a product developer? Oh, what's front end? What's back end? And I'm just drinking through a water hose right now, but it's very beautiful. It's very beautiful. So when I look at someone with your skill set, like I don't think people, not that they don't appreciate it, but I don't even know if they are fully taking in the beauty of what you're able to do, because it's almost inception level. Not only do you have the skill set to craft something that hasn't quite existed yet in the real world, you know languages, and simply by putting a string of numbers, letters, and or spaces and or symbols together, you can create something. But then one level up under that, you're creating something that helps people who don't know how to create something create something. that's
Yes.
that's crazy to me. It's crazy beautiful in such a good way. And when I look at something like that, and I'm like, this is a woman doing this. And I want to get to a space eventually where we don't have to make that distinction, because we realize the fact that we're even acknowledging that we're coming out of a torrid past and da, da, da. But you are a woman who is crafting and creating the thing to create, help people create things with the creation. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
just so amazing to me. And stepping into my founder era now and getting to the point where I'm considering, oh, I need an app. Oh, I want to develop a game. And talking to other developers in the community, founders, people who know these coding languages, Python, C++, all these things. And I look at where the market is going, because I heard the analogy the other day that 1 month in tech is like 1 year in the real world. Like time just goes so quickly with how fast these languages develop. Along your tech journey, how many how are you keeping up with the skill set that you need to be able to not just create, but to create the thing that creates for other people? Like, how many coding languages did you have to learn? Like,
Um, I learned enough to be dangerous. And I learned the basics. And I tell people just the same. It actually started off with the same programming languages we all use to program our MySpace pages, right? You need to know a little bit of HTML, CSS. We did a little JavaScript. Like, lo and behold, MySpace was teaching you how to code without you even knowing that you were learning how to code. And that's the same model. Like, I'm teaching you how to be a product developer without you even know you're learning how to be a product developer, right? And but that's where like that's just starting off with these little things, because I can tell you if you can build a MySpace page, go build a product. Like, nah, I can't do all that, but I can build a MySpace page. You just know enough to get some results and be dangerous. And that's kind of where I started, with learning a little bit of everything to build something minimal and sellable. And then from there on out, my skill set is used to think more strategy. Then I can like be more intelligent to hire the right people to take it to the next level. But I say one thing I like about the way that we set up NixCode is that we give to a lot of youth and students to start building, because it really sets the foundation of how you learn code. Is a lot of that logic based programming, if this then that. Without
yes.
code, you can master that logic. When you start stepping into code, it feels a lot more easier and acceptable and not so overwhelming. It's like, okay, right, I understand logic. I understand logic statements. I'm just throwing some new languages in that, some programming languages. So that's kind of been my journey. How I stay sharp is I read a lot of blogs. I've subscribed to Apple and Google's developer newsletter. So they're the main ones. Let me know if there's something changed in the mobile space language wise. And then every time there's frameworks, I'm gonna get too technical, but there's different frameworks for different languages, and so every time a new framework solution comes out, or they've changed or got acquired or something, I always usually just try to stay new and learn what's different, what can you do with these frameworks. I explore GitHubs, I look through different open source codes to see how they did something. At this point in 2022, I can't think of something that needs to be original. Something exists where you can develop upon. So I explore GitHubs, I pull open source codes, and I build upon that too. So by at least exploring and learning enough to be dangerous, you can start to read code and say, can I use this or not? Go from there. So that's been kind of my process and how I continue to keep myself sharp in this space.
Yes, man. First off, you need that on a shirt. I learned enough to be dangerous. Ooh, you need that on a shirt, sis.
I don't
But
know if money to make something to sell.
Hey, get a little Teespring shop. I support. But
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful. And as I learn more about GitHub and these different spaces, like I just went to NearCon in Portugal, and tomorrow I'll be going to ETH Bogota in Colombia.
Oh,
And
cool.
these are different hackathon events, and there's other satellite events surrounding it, but mainly it's for developers who are going um, and really immersing themselves inside the coding space, building on these different blockchain protocols, and truly understanding how to make different things that are very usable to the community, to different DAOs, different ecosystems, and things of that nature. And I'm in kindergarten as a coder, very much kindergarten, very much bracket, very much body header type vibes, very much kindergarten. But still fully fine with that and comfortable with that and immersing myself in these spaces because I'm watching and I see these young Black women up here coding their tails off, and I'm like, yes, yes. So when it comes to the new developers coming up under you, um, or just in the ecosystem in general, what are some things that you wish you could have said to young Sydney 10 years ago, specifically regarding this space?
Um, ask more questions of users, do more customer discovery. So a little thing about NixCode is I actually tried this same business 10 years ago. It wasn't called NixCode. It
Really?
was called something else. And I mean, it was the same offering. I didn't have the sign up automation, but it was basically no code. I was doing no code when it was before it was like a big trending thing. Um,
Hmm.
I was doing apps for like $60 and $400. Like I was just trying to get clients and have use case. And I wish I would have asked more about what people seen in the value of app development and why they were doing it. Um, because I wasn't successful. I actually quit it. I didn't get sales. It was running expenses. And I think I tried it for 2.5 years and I stopped. Went back to the drawing board and relaunched it as some same product. Literally, I'm doing the same thing I was doing 2 years ago. Renamed it. I mean, I optimized the systems a little bit more, changed my communication and value proposition, and relaunched it in 2020. But yeah, 10 years ago, I wish I'd have talked to more people who I was, serving, although, I didn't really see the value because I was undercharging and things like that. But if I would have had more user data, I could have built more a beneficial product that they needed. And two, other than saying get an app, I could have been communicating benefits when I was talking about features. And sometimes I tell people we get so caught up in selling the features and not the benefits. And that's what I should have done is if I got more customer information, I could have talked about the benefits they were seeing instead of what cool features do you like? What do you want your app to do? Um,
Hmm.
and people really don't care about what it does. It's what will it do for my business? What's the benefit this feature gets me in the long run? And I wasn't asked those questions or getting that insight. So that's one thing I would have told myself when I was first doing this, and that I've learned that it's helped me have different change today.
You know what? You're speaking directly to me. I feel like I've been saying that a lot lately. I think I'm putting on my big girl ears and I'm really hearing people now because I don't know if it's because I happen to be in two accelerators right now. Like, right?
Two,
Two, girl, girl, girl.
accelerates can be a lot.
It's a lot, but it's beautiful because one is Jax Bridges, which is in my hometown. Um, and it's tied to the Jacksonville Chamber of Commerce. And specifically, I'm in it as a Web3 company. And they're teaching us about these things right now, value proposition, like, and knowing your customer profiles, build your avatar, all of these things. And it's like opening my mind. I'm a nurse, and my business partner is an educator, a curriculum writer for her children. She's a stay at home educator. So neither of us had business acumen whatsoever. So as we're going through these things, we're like, wow, we didn't think about that. Wow, we didn't think about that. And specifically the sentence you said when you were undercharging, but trying to get people to buy the feature of the thing that you're selling. It's not that people won't buy it, they'll buy it. It's not that people don't need it, they need it. But do they understand what it will do for them? Or is it better to, like you're saying, ask them what is it exactly that they need and see if you can meet that need? Because the answer is yes. It's just they haven't made that mental connection. I haven't made that mental connection. So you're speaking directly to me right now. And I'm in my first week of my other accelerator. I just got into NASDAQ, which is like,
Oh my gosh.
right. So
That's
I'm like,
congrats, though.
I'm geeked out. So I will need to talk to you very soon because I need to ask. Yes. Um, But literally, that is such an insightful question, and that helps me so directly. Like, I'm like, I have students right now, and I'm like, have I ever really asked them? I mean, I've asked them what do they want, but did I ever really ask them what are they expecting to get
Yes.
from this? I don't think I've done that. And I feel a little silly, but I'm gonna go ask them that when we get
It's
here.
important because then you have missed expectation, and that's how I think that's the biggest thing when I look at customer client reviews of unhappy people. It's like they had an expectation and we're delivering one thing, but never does, as a service or product provider, do we ask, well, what is your expectation? Because from the stump, we could have said that's a misconnection right there. People go on with different expectations. So too, yeah, students is like, well, what are you expecting to get out of this? Because I want to make sure I'm delivering the benefit that you need.
Wow. I mean, and it sounds so simple, but it's like, it's oftentimes, I've heard it said so many different ways, but oftentimes the most simple things are the things that get overlooked because people assume they're just getting done. When in
Mhm.
reality, no, they don't get done. We're trying to focus on the big tackleable, like, I want the profits. And step one, what does the customer want? The customer is always right. Well, asterisk, take that with a grain of salt. With a grain of salt.
Yeah,
But
strict
now,
cat.
heavy asterisk, heavy asterisk. But getting into the essence of ease, because any product in some way, shape, or form is trying to add ease to someone's life. And the value proposition that you're offering is, I can do the coding labor for you. I can do that labor for you now, venturing into getting your app to market because it's not something you've thought about. So when you think about an ease that you need as a business or an ease that you need as an individual, not what you offer, but what you need, what is something that Sydney needs right now?
Mm. You know, I need what do I that's such a that's such a loaded question, a heavy one too. But
Mm,
um I could always use executive leadership, support, resources and guidance. I think the the challenging part of, if I could just keep it real, the challenging part of being a founder and business owner, but also, you know, I'm a pretty human, straightforward black woman too. Code switching from my executive into just who I am, what feels natural to me.
mhm,
I'm just gonna sum up that you need some executive, leadership, girl. That's what I'm telling myself. You need some. That's really what you need. In terms of like dealing with more customers and managing people, and
mhm,
doing a lot more the internal business things outside of just obviously or outside of my product and tool. Um, that could be just through how I inspire everyone else to be a leader. How do I bring people along and just truly inspire and motivate
mhm,
um, in a comfortable way? I'm definitely a Mamba mentality type of Kobe player. And people didn't like Kobe. Great, but he was great, right? Kobe was phenomenal. He was good at what he did, right? But when you have to be your team leader and lead your team, it's going to take a different skill set, and that's where I'm at. That's what I need. Um, is that the bigger my company grows, the more I expand,
mhm,
is how it's also changing me as a woman, is changing me as a black woman, is changing
mhm,
me as a person. Um, Changing me makes me face childhood trauma, makes me face um, a lot of things that are roadblocks to our potential and our true growth and tapping into our true potential, right?
oh,
And so a lot of self work, is done to be a founder. It's self-work required to be a true business leader. And if you're looking to disrupt the industry, it has to start internally first. So
Listen here. So when does the collection plate go? This is church. This literally, the last conversation I just had was with Chief Marketing Officer Keone Chong. He's phenomenal. Like we literally just did that interview, and he just moved to Portugal. He's literally taking over ownership of putting our digital footprint into the entire world. He could do that with any company, but literally the fact that he's taken ownership of doing that
yeah,
is astronomical. And we were literally talking about personal growth, and one book we were both reading was Start With Why.
I heard of that.
And just another book I was recently reading, when you just said the internal work required to be a founder. There's a book I read right before this, Untethered Soul by Michael Singer.
Hmm.
There's so much unhealed trauma out here in our community because we're being very technical right now and talking about apps and accelerators and business. But especially in our community, one of the things that we don't spend enough time having the space to address, in my opinion, is healing ourselves because we're constantly in a state of go, 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 go. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that time to pause, that time to reflect, that time to be mindful and kind to each other
Yeah.
and ourselves, and then to actually let the healing take place. I would this morning I heard a statistic, which I've heard before, but it just not a statistic, but a factoid, I guess. If you're working out regularly in the gym, if you don't take that day of rest, the muscle won't grow. Period. You
Hmm.
can think that you're accelerating your growth. You're like, I don't need a day of rest. I'm gonna just do an extra day of work. So I'm gonna work out all 7 days a week. But actually, the muscle fibers have to break down and have to have that time of repair, or it simply won't grow. And there's a lot of internal work that I'm still doing. I freely admit it. Like literally my podcast that I do with my co-founder, this is therapy because and I speak very plainly on here because I don't want someone to feel like they're alone in their journey as they're going
Yeah.
through the things they're going through. And I definitely wasn't a tech founder when I first started this thing a few years ago. They've watched me come along on a whole journey, Lord.
Uh-huh.
And I'm saying that to say, because I know my audience is predominantly Black women around my age. And I do have a diverse audience, but specifically speaking to individuals who may identify with my visage. We have to take the time to heal. Both of these accelerators are forcing me to heal some shit right now, some stuff, pardon my French,
Mm.
that I thought I had handled. And healing is never really done, ever. Healing is a process. It's a continual journey. And you said something when you said that. Good Lord. What would you say at what point in your entrepreneurship journey, because you said you've been at this concept, at this idea for a minimum of 10 years.
Yeah.
The advice you gave to your 10-year ago self, you were still doing the same thing. Like you're like, I'm gonna get this war, and you did, and you did, and
Thank
did. But at what point along that journey did you notice that a deeper level of introspection or healing was needed than what you originally anticipated, if that was ever a thing?
Yeah. Um, I think I had two series that helped me with my pivots. One, when I was, in all honesty, so when I did my original no code tool, it's called Hype Digital Innovation.
Mhm.
Um, I was, I, I had my mother invested in it for me, like all my tech stack I needed to do the work. So she wanted to come on as my partner. So with the investment, the agreement was all the money would go to her until I would break even and make some money. But I wouldn't make any money. I was undercharging, so I was never in the positive, right? I was always in the negative with her. During this time, I had some life things going on and I was displaced. So no home, and I'm sitting in a donut shop because that's what's open after 11 o'clock at my town, working on an app with a difficult client who's only paying me $400 to build a custom app. Um, and I'm sitting here and only afford me a hot cup of like chocolate. And that was my breaking point. I said, there's no way my ass is going to be homeless, drinking hot chocolate in a coffee shop, building apps for people who aren't doing this for value. They don't even see the value in it, which is why they pay $400. It wouldn't pay anymore. Um, like, let's throw this all away. Like, let's just stop. Like, this is not it. Um, and this is not what I signed up for. Um, right, because I did this to streamline my business operations and it just went downhill because when I took the coding out of it, they try to value the experience a lot less. Like, oh, you're not doing it, coding or anything like that. You're just going to use this tool. You're going to, do it no code, right? And it started to devalue because I wasn't communicating benefits and nor was I showing that. Um, Stop that. So that's my first pivot into when I realized I needed to do some more work around one, myself and my confidence to charge more, my confidence to articulate the value that I see more, right? And drive that. So I need to work on my confidence because some people be afraid to ask for the sale. I was afraid to ask for sale and afraid to ask for what I wanted to be paid. That was my first thing. And then, now that I'm in NixCode and it's going well and, I'm scaling, we got revenue, we got customers and over 57,000 users and a team, I am now challenged to have to lead people, right? I'm now challenged to have to pass my knowledge on to other people so I can be in position to lead. And that the moment that signified that for me was when I feel like I had a hard time retaining people on my team. I said, something ain't clicking because one, you have people and they're not meeting your expectations, Sydney, and two, they're not sticking around, either. So as a leader, it's my definitely on me. And how can you be a better leader to one, encourage them and inspire them that they can do this too? Because the users get to view the non-tech is very much technical inside our infrastructure, right? So how can I empower them like I've empowered people on the outside of the product? And how can I, empower these non-technical people working for a tech company to feel motivated and clear on expectations and equipped to perform at their best? And when I just seen my employee engagement reflect that there's some work that needs to do, it immediately reflect the work that I needed to do. And then through therapy, when I discussed my work situations, it was prompted that the way I lead is triggered to how I grew up in a household and how my parents set expectations of me is how I set expectations of people in my workspace. Like, I never thought about that, right? If you didn't have participation ribbon parents, you obviously probably don't believe in participation ribbon employees either, right? But they want participation ribbons. If nothing was good enough for your parents, I say that was my case, but then you're trained and raised in such a mindset and environment that you take that into your leadership and your work. That's how your parents led you, and that's how you lead other people. And that's either how we parent or how we treat our coworkers and or direct reports. So that's where it triggered a lot of more self-work needed to happen and for me to be and reflect on those things. I never would have made that connection if it wasn't for therapy and having executive coaching that does have to tap into your childhood and your upbringing to know where does this stem from, and the lack of confidence or your criticism or your high expectations. Where does that stem from? And yeah, I always just wonder why therapists always want to get to childhood. I'm like, my childhood was great. They're like, yeah, it was great, but this is how it's reflecting and playing a part in your life today.
Girl, I'm gonna get that collection plate for the end of the day because this when I say, and this is why I pay attention to my audience and who's in it, because I think there is we are not a monolith. I want to emphasize that. I recognize that is the whole flagship of what I do, recognizing that we are not this one static image that they put out in the media of us. We are varied, we are talented, we have so many different skill sets and facets and interests and everything to us. But recognizing the other side of that, we have so many unhealed things that we have to work on. And when we grow up in somewhat similar conditions that may echo each other, we may even echo in our trauma as well. And in recognizing some of the unique characteristics that comes along with the Black woman's experience, regardless of what you're trying to do out here in this world, whether you are a master chef, a professional swimmer, a contortionist, whatever you're doing, you have to exist in spaces with other people. And there's specific things that comes along with being in this vessel and experiences we may have had growing up. And when I say, whenever I have conversations personal development with women, particularly Black women, there is this echoed shared thing here. If we happen to grow up in a household that was considered overall nurturing, there's still trauma there. And we feel as though, even subconsciously on a surface level, that we don't get to acknowledge that per se, because the alternative is you're comparing yourself to another Black female counterpart who maybe had no parents or missing parents or a horrible upbringing with parents. Or you can still come up in a nutritive environment, but there can still be unhealed trauma that your parents didn't quite deal with and they sired you. And now you're having to deal with that generationally.
Yeah.
Literally, the things you're working on are the things I'm working on. And
a lot of us are.
The need to let go, the need to learn how to delegate in a sensitive yet inspirational manner. Um, when it comes to retention, it might not necessarily reflect something about you, but it's good that you have that awareness to say, I need to change something. Because some people never get to that space in their life. Like they're just like, man, well, everybody tripping in it. But and that's, and I can see both sides of that dynamic. Say it's two people and one's like, well, I don't want to deal with whatever. So that's their avoidance kicking in. And at the same time, you're like, well, they're not delivering what I want. So it's like, I'm going to go handle it myself. And then that's the micromanagement kicking in. Both people have things they haven't worked on. And there's so much room for growth. So much room for growth in every human being, every individual, every person, but specifically for my Black women who are listening. There's some podcasts that I really love. One is by a young lady named Beatrice. It's a self-love podcast. Self-love podcast on Spotify. It's phenomenal. She really dives deep into self-help, romance, all those different things, avoidance techniques, all that. Yeah. In fact, I can pull that up on the screen. I like to promote other people's stuff too, because like there's some phenomenal individuals out here.
Yeah, and I've been looking to get into some podcast while I'm on the road and traveling, to dive into some. Stop just listening to the junk and TikToks. I need to be listening to something a little bit more motivating and helpful.
Yes, and you can binge watch because she has years and years and years of this. Self-Love Fix. Here we go. Self-Love Fix by Beatrice. Girl, when I say I relate to so many things that she went through as a Black woman, and specifically she's Caribbean. I'm not, to my knowledge, Caribbean, but just a lot of her shared experiences, I'm like, yes, sis. So Self-Love Fix. I believe it's also on Apple as well. But anybody?
Oh, found it. Awesome.
Yes. But I love this conversation so much. Honestly, this is probably one of my favorite conversations, and I'm not just saying that because like I'm rooting for you. Like I want to see you do everything you've ever dreamed of, whether that's getting to exit phase with your company. You're like, NixCode is where it needs to be. I'm going to sell it for $15 billion and have a lovely day. And you go start another startup and gallivant off into the sunset, or you want to continue pouring yourself into this baby and see it grow into full adolescence. Or I'm proud of you. Like, yes, ma'am. Like, Black Tech Week was so inspiring. I go to so many inspiring events, but Black Tech Week was very inspiring because every room I walked in, there was a brilliant Black person on that stage who created something to help other people. And I said, you can't tell me we ain't only popping out here in these streets. You can't tell me.
It was a phenomenal event. They did a great job for the first. Like it was really well executed and thoughtful.
Yes. What are some other events or things that you're looking to go to or that interest you? Like, as someone who's very technical, people who are listening might be like, what is Sydney into? Because maybe I need to be looking over there.
So right now, well, I have some events I'm speaking at, so I'm attending, but I'm excited to. Definitely going to Atlanta's Innovation Week next week. They got a lot of things going on. So a lot of different events that week. Michigan Tech Week is happening this week, which I'll be speaking at and participating in. So a lot of info around clean tech energy, a lot of founder stories and VC stories. I love attending events that VCs attend. Not only is it great for networking, but I like to hear the knowledge and information that they're getting that's educating them on the industry and space. I just like to follow what they're looking at and trending to, because they usually try to be first in knowledge of industry and movements and things of that sort. And my goal is to hopefully be a venture capitalist when I have my exit, I can go replenish it across for my people. And I'll be at Afrotech just to join and enjoy Afrotech Week in November. So I'll be there too. So that's what I have for the rest of the year kind of coming up. And I have a TED Talk in Detroit, October 26th.
Let's go, TED Talk. Okay, let me calm down. Let's go, TED Talk. I ain't got to calm down. That's lit. Yep. Hey. Number one, I'm going to see you at Afrotech because I'm going to Afrotech.
Oh, awesome. That'd be so good to see you again.
Yes, period. But I love that. Like, where in Michigan is the event happening? Out of curiosity.
Detroit.
Let's come on. They be innovative up there. I have a friend up there, Regalia Goddard. She is a venture capitalist who works at General Motors. So I'm gonna ask her if she's aware of that.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
That would be lit. Like, what? There's so many things going on. Also, Black Founders Demo Day is going down December 1st in Miami. And if you're down there, you might want to be down there. Yeah.
I love it. Miami. I'm down to go.
It's a lot of Black VCs going to be at that event.
Okay.
So
Black Founder Demo Day.
Yeah, in fact, I can pull that up on the screen. I was just having a chat Girl, I was just having a chat with one of the gentlemen orchestrating an event, and it's like everything that I stand for, everything I'm envisioning. Black Founders Demo Day. There we go. It's during the week of Art Basel, which is pretty cool.
Yes, I really want to attend, so this sounds really up my alley.
There you go, Black Founders Demo Day. So you can, and I'll drop that in our private chat back here. But yeah, it's on December 1st, and then you can fill out this little form. His app is the Plain Sight app. So this literally is putting people in a repository to connect with Black VCs. Like,
yeah.
Get these gems y'all getting on this Digital Green Book podcast. Y'all better sign up.
Absolutely.
But I'm excited. And girl, this was 45 minutes on flew by already. Wow. Sydney, I'm so thoroughly impressed with you. One of my final questions that I really have for you is, what is a skill that you don't currently have that you would be interested in picking up, whether it's technical or not?
Yeah,
what's a skill that you want to pick up?
A skill I'd like to pick up. Okay. I hope this isn't just too shallow and simple, but makeup skills.
Same.
I'd be like, how do I get that beat? Like, and I guess I'm a plain Jane person. I like it's how I've always been. But the more you get the networking and photoing and interviewing and like speaking, it's like, and I look at everybody else's photos like, oh, she looks so glam. I'm just like, how do I just like, I wish I could learn how to do my own makeup.
I'm gonna put you on. Are you familiar with Jackie Ina?
Mm-mm.
Ooh, girl, you finna binge watch it. Go. You got your whole programming for the next.
Yes.
The next.
And I'm like, it's just you would think like it's hard. I can't, I don't know, maybe they think it's simple, but I can't lay eyelashes on. I can't lay eyeliner on. I can't, I mean, things be discolored, uneven, chalky, too oily. I was like, I'd rather code before I apply some makeup because this is too much of a challenge.
You got it. So this
Got
young lady, Jackie Ina, has been in the
Oh,
makeup game for over 10 years. Same complexion. It's just real bright in here. Same complexion, and literally grew so organically in the system, overcame racial different things to the point where they're sending her makeup now. They're like, is this inclusive enough? Like, she
right, right.
understands the game. Girl, I went back and binge watched. She's been recording on here for like 12 years. You will learn some stuff on this channel.
Okay. I'll have to binge watch that and learn. But that's, if I can learn anything next, that would be one I think would be fun. It's relaxing. And I'm like, the more you get out here networking, at least you can put a little blush on. A little something.
A little
A lip
highlight,
gloss.
little something, little moisturizer, little, you know.
Yes.
But yes, ma'am, I'm so honored that you came and chatted with me today. This was very therapeutic, very restorative, and I know young girls watching this be like, I can do that too. I know it. Yes, ma'am. Where can
Thank you
people
so
connect
much.
with you if they want to follow?
Yeah. Instagram and Facebook. I am Sydney Lorraine on
There
all
you
the
go.
on all
There you
platforms.
go. Y'all better tap in. Y'all better follow along. You better use NixCode. I'm about to be using it in about 2 minutes here because I got to build it out. Thank you so much, sis.
Thank you.
This replay will be available on LinkedIn. Feel free to share it within your network. It'll be available on YouTube. And in a few weeks, I will have the replay up on Apple and Spotify. Thank you so much for tuning in, y'all. All right, bye. Stay right there. Hold on.